All right, I'm back. Okay. So, what I want to talk about before I do the kettlebell snatch, you guys saw how the clean was an accumulation of a swing, a pull, and an overhead press. This is the snatch, and it's accumulation of a swing and a pull. Now, what I recommend if you guys try this stuff out is just to drill in sets of 3, and you can even pause between each set just to think about how your lower body's momentum is a bit uncoordinated with your upper body's momentum if you try to do this, and you can think about trying to getting it into sync, or you can think about not pulling so hard to see if you can match your momentum or slightly get above it so you can have the pull action. And then it all starts out with the kettlebell swing. So I recommend drilling the kettlebell swing with a light kettlebell until you have the movement patterns down, and then drilling the overhead press until you have the movement patterns down, and then drilling the snatch until you have the movement patterns down, and then try drilling the clean itself after you have those 3 movement patterns down. So you want to get those movement patterns down before you try to do the kettlebell clean. And then like that's what I did when I tried it, and I didn't like I drilled all last year, like dozens of hours, but I did not what am I trying to say here? I did not drill until I was completely tired. I did light drills with a 25-pound kettlebell until I got the movement patterns down, and then I moved up to a 35-pound, then I moved up to a 45-pound with the movement patterns. And that's a good thing to try if you're moving up weights and kettlebells, is drill the basic movement patterns first so you have them down and you're comfortable with the weight, and then go ahead and try the snatch, because that's the accumulation of like all 3 movement patterns. And then as far as starting from step 1, I'd start with the swing, the overhead press, the clean, and then the snatch being at the top. I just kind of showed it out of sync there. Next time I won't do that, but I showed it out of sync because, like, if you do the swings and you do an accumulative amount of swings, overhead presses, and snatches, and then you get to the snatch, you're gonna find out real quick that you're out of gas and you can't do it. That always happens to me, and it just wipes me out. So with that being said, I'm gonna show you guys the kettlebell clean. It's not very hard. It's a combination of a pull and a single arm kettlebell swing, and it can be done. And I'm gonna show you guys how it's done. If you guys can do it, you guys can try cleaning the kettlebell off the ground and bringing it up like I show you, so you can get the movement pattern right with your arm snaking. The movement patterns for your upper body are just as important as the movement patterns for your lower body. So you want to learn the movement patterns in coordination with your upper body so you can protect your lower back, your upper back, your legs, and then the kettlebell is not swinging here, definitely not here. I've had that happen before, and it's a total nightmare when the kettlebell hits you in the head. I was even showing my roommate this stuff, and he wanted to try it, and as he was trying to do the kettlebell snatch, it actually like nicked him in the ear, and he got a good idea of how heavy it actually is. And I've dropped the bell several times, and it's just like a huge thunking noise. So every time you drop the bell or every time you make a mistake, you want to get out of the way. You want to let it drop. You don't want to contest its movement into a wall or into a window. That's why I recommend doing it outside. But I've been lucky so far. It's just hit the ground. So with that being said, let's get started here. And then the next one will be the squat. That's pretty easy. I'll show you guys that as well. That's its own movement pattern, all on its own. And it takes a little bit of drilling to keep it tight, because when you're doing all these exercises, you want to keep it as tight as possible, unless you're doing the swing and you're coming up like this. That's a different story. But when you're doing the overhead press, the snatch, or the swing, you want to keep it as tight as possible to your body, so it doesn't like fly out everywhere. There's the kettlebell. I can stand a little bit closer so it's not going over my head. So you start out with it like this, swing, bring it up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just switch. That was an example of a bad one there. Oh, and that was an example of when you saw it kind of going out a little bit. I was pulling too hard, and it's partially me, and it's partially being on uneven ground. So I have to continually adjust my stance and my balance, so it's stable as it's coming up. So that being said, I'll take a quick 2-minute break here, do some stretching, and come back. Okay, 1 more minute. All right, let's get going. So this is going to be the last set of the kettlebell snatch, where you saw it coming between the legs and being tucked under and resting here. I was kind of pulling a little too hard on the swing, so it was kind of coming up a little, out a little bit. That's not what you want. You kind of want to match your pull with your swing and momentum, so it snakes up underneath it. Sometimes when I think about it, I get it wrong, but in this case, because I'm trying to balance myself on uneven ground, it's kind of coming up a little off, and that's okay. It was the same with the snatch. My balance was a little off, so I had to be a little bit careful with it. Same thing. Make sure you got your footing on the grass, and feather your feet and come down so you're in a squatting position, and then grab it, and then you want to hike it through and then drive your hips up, and then you want to look at where you want to pull. In this case, since it's supposed to be a clean, I'm looking down And then once my arm meets my eyesight, I pull. Just that easy. You can also practice that just on its own. You can look down and then pull up with coordinating your legs and your upper body. All right, that's the end of the kettlebell snatch. That is definitely one that gets your heart rate up, and not every snatch. Sorry, not kettlebell. That is the end of the kettlebell clean. Not every clean has to be perfect. There's room for error and there's room to grow. I'm still growing on my swings, my snatches, my cleans, my overhead presses, the kettlebell get up. I'm still growing in all those fields. But the important thing to know is you at least want to try to get it right to minimize injury and damage. And so it doesn't swing out in the middle of space, in the middle of nowhere. So that's why you want to try to drill it correctly. And that's why you want to start with light kettlebells and move your way up. That being said, I'll see you guys in 2 minutes for the squat, and that will be the end of the videos for the day. Then I'll be doing some jump rope and heading back home.